And on top of that, last episode ended with Ned Stark getting taken from behind by the Littlefinger. Oh no, we can't do that.
I walk through the shadow of death left to fear. This is a journey through the halls of hell.
Yes people, what is good? I am BA, back once again with another reaction in the Game of Thrones series. This is episode 8 of season 1 and it is called The Pointy End. Last episode, I mean, everything began to go horribly for Ned and all the other Starks up in King's Landing, didn't it? This is the episode where everything changes forever. You know, Cersei ripped a piece of paper up in front of Ned's face, his Kingsguard turned against him, slaughtered the Northmen who were protecting Ned, and now Littlefinger has a dagger to his throat. So yeah, without further ado, let's see where it goes from there. This is episode 8 of season 1, The Pointy End. Let's check it out and see what it's saying to it. I hope the person that designed this intro got a fucking bonus for it becoming absolutely legendary. You know these CGI artists get underpaid incredibly badly already. I hope this guy got a bonus. Here's your bonus, you have to do 300 hours of dragon animations by Monday. Get on it! Said every studio executive of the last 10 years. Lannister guards are just moving through the castle now, killing off the rest of the Stark guards.
Bruiser, she's so clumsy.
Oh man. This scene's horrible, you know, because Sansa has just been a silly, stupid little girl to this woman who's had her back from the beginning. And now this woman knows what's going on. She's not naive, and she is sacrificing her life for Sansa Stark in this scene. Regardless of how horrible Sansa's been to her. She's a braver woman than most in this show. Walk towards them as well.
Now you are a dead girl.
Only because you lied.
My tongue lied. My eyes shouted the truth.
Even your eyes can lie in fighting. Like, one of the first tricks in kickboxing is to, you know, look high and hit low. Or, you know, you look at the leg one time and kick the leg. You look at the leg the second time, guaranteed they'll probably open up their head for a head kick. People follow the eyes.
Arya Stark. Come with us. Your father wants to see you.
This guy is a colossal piece of shit. I forget how big he is. He's quite physically imposing, this guy. Is his name Meryn Trant?
Take her.
Are you men or snakes that you would threaten a child?
Get out of my way, little man.
I love how Syrio stands up for Arya in this scene. It's just tragic that such a cool character is killed off so early.
Kill the Bravosi. Bring the girl.
And even with a wooden sword, he beats the shit out of everyone except the one Kingsguard in the room. It actually makes me wonder why the Bravosi sword style didn't become the most commonly trained style in all of Westeros, because it seems to be more efficient than the traditional knight sword style. I know it's like a low armor style and thus very dangerous, but the benefits are mobility and speed, of course. Oh, it's tragic. Such a cool way to go out. A lot of fans refuse to believe he died in this scene and believe that because he's such a skilled guy and because he comes from Bravos that he may be a faceless man. I would love to believe that, but it is genuinely wishful thinking, innit? That dude broke his wooden sword. He was done.
Not safe. Not safe.
A lot of characters are showing their true bravery in this scene, you know. So brave at Arya to be like that.
I'll tell the Queen.
Who do you think sent me?
It's quite miraculous that we literally like Hound by, what is it, the end of season 2? It's quite a quick turnaround for the Hound. But man, in that scene, he is one scary dude to someone like Sansa.
He'll reward you.
She'll reward me. The Queen.
Stay away!
Well, you know, this is the beginning of a very long path of murder for Arya. And it's the kid's fault. She was on edge. Everyone was dying around her, and then this person just tries to walk up to her and rob her on top of that. There's a difference between an assassin and a serial killer. Arya isn't like a serial killer in this show. She is a trained assassin taking out targets. Granted, she isn't just now. She's just a little child who shanked a boy in the street, but, you know, one day.
Why is it no one ever trusts the eunuch?
It's a question for the philosophers, that one, Varys. I couldn't answer you.
Sansa? Still engaged to Joffrey. Cersei will keep her close.
That is the worst shit ever, seriously. The fact that they've not only imprisoned Ned, but they're keeping the wedding going between Sansa and Joffrey, and she's being essentially held by the Lannister family now as a tool to claim the North, obviously.
What madness led you to tell the Queen you had learned the truth about Joffrey's birth?
Oh, you're a fucking idiot, Ned. Varys is correct to ask that question. The very first person you should have approached, as I said at the time, was Robert.
But it was your mercy that killed the king.
Yeah, it really was. It's horrible because Ned is such a nice guy, but he's just not savvy enough to this political shit. And it surprises me, man, because Ned's lived a life. He saw people snaking people from when he was young, you know, in this kingdom of Westeros. So it surprises me that's not a string in his bow.
Who do you truly serve?
The realm, my lord. Someone must.
100% honest with his answer there, and we don't fully come to realise he's telling the truth until way later in the show, but it's actually mad watching this back now retroactively, knowing how Varys is throughout the show, and seeing that like he's basically being 100% truthful in every scene. I was expecting him to at least be a bit manipulative with the information he divulges, even if he's doing it, you know, for the greater good, but he's actually just incredibly honest to people, and you just mistake him as snaky.
What smell?
There is none. If they'd been dead for a long time, wouldn't they be rot?
This is the first white that comes back, isn't it, in Castle Black? If I was the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch, I would be torn whether or not to tell Jon Snow this information. I suppose it's a great way to test his loyalty to the cause and the oaths he's just taken, but of course he's going to want to instantly go and fight.
They say he conspired with Robert's brothers to deny the throne to Prince Joffrey.
Such bullshit that that's the information getting sent out to different places via Raven as well. The misinformation starting straight away.
My sisters were in King's Landing too. I'm sure they'll be treated gently.
Oh my fucking god, I can't believe the Lord Commander says that, because he knows exactly what would happen to two daughters captured by an enemy house in a time like this when shit goes down. He knows it's not going to be a good time for them.
Sansa Sweetling, you were innocent of any wrong, we know that. Yet you are the daughter of a traitor.
Fuck Cersei for talking to Sansa like this right now. Not only lying, but then using her lie to make Sansa feel bad.
The girl is innocent, Your Grace. She should be given a chance to prove her loyalty.
Baelish instantly trying to inject himself on Sansa's side straight away there, the fucking creep.
Urge your brother to keep the king's peace. Tell him to come to King's Landing and swear his fealty to Joffrey.
The terms the Lannisters are laying out here, how would they not expect war? It is such bullshit. It was a horrible move by Cersei to imprison Ned, and I'm surprised Tywin hasn't actually raced to King's Landing and demand that they let him go. I'm surprised Tywin isn't here right now screaming at them for doing this.
Depends.
On what?
On your brother. And on you.
Such horrible gaslighting of a child.
Sansa wrote this.
It is your sister's hand, but the Queen's words.
Yeah, the Maester saw through it straight away at least.
His Grace summons me to King's Landing, I'll go to King's Landing. Call the banners.
Legendary. I love the way Rob reacts to this, because who would do that? Who would be like, okay, they've imprisoned my father, but I better go up there and kiss the ring. Fuck off. I'm calling everyone I know and we're coming to get my family back. Oh, I'm starting to get invested in the show again, I feel it. It took a few episodes, but now I'm right back in fucking Westeros again.
My husband has been taken prisoner. My son intends to declare war.
A war? Your son against the Lannisters?
Ned's just been kidnapped and this woman is just sitting there all la-di-da getting her nipples sucked off a fucking 25-year-old.
Does family mean nothing to you?
Probably over-exaggerated the boy's age somewhat, but you get the point.
I'm hungry.
Hush, love, darling. I just ate.
Some 42-year-old sucking on the 98-year-old's nip. Some insatiable, appetited 60-year-old trying to suckle on the nipple of a 120-year-old witch.
These people will do anything, and that is why we have to stop them.
But of course this woman is in the safest place in the entirety of Westeros and just doesn't seem to give a fuck about anyone except her and her son. Seriously, she doesn't move a finger for anyone this whole show, except Littlefinger, funnily enough. That's probably too many fingers. That's what she said. And she was right.
What do you want, Bronn? Gold? Women? Golden women?
Basically, I mean, you had him pegged from the get-go there, Tyrion. He's not exactly a human riddle, Bronn. He's quite a simple man.
Though I would treasure your friendship, I'm mainly interested in your facility with murder.
It's good to separate whether someone's going to be your friend from day one or your assassin from day one. You got to set your boundaries. I've had assassins in my life trying to, yo, do you want to go for a game of pool after I shoot this guy in the head? No, we have our positions. I've got my circle of friends. Go shoot someone. Fucking needy. That's what they don't tell you about assassins. Needy.
How would you like to die, Tyrion, son of Tywin?
In my own bed, at the age of 80, with a belly full of wine and a girl's mouth around my cock?
Amen to that, Tyrion.
Take the half-man. He can dance for the children.
How dare you reduce him to those terms, you hill tribe fuck.
Good enough for killing sheep. If the sheep don't fight back, Lannister Smith's shit better steal.
I mean, he's not lying, it's just probably best not to insult all the dudes with the axes while they're currently surrounding you.
But if you help us, Shaggas, son of Julf, I will not give you trinkets. I will give you this.
Tyrion just finesses his way through this entire show with his silver tongue, doesn't he? Got such a way with words.
Now there's a rare sight. Not only a bastard, but a traitor's bastard.
Reason 111, I hope this guy takes a flying fuck off the top of the wall.
Blood will always tell. You'll hang for this bastard.
What a dickhead. Provoked him by rubbing it in his face his father had just been arrested and then threatened him with hanging after he went to attack him for it.
I told you not to do anything stupid. You're confined to quarters.
Ah, right, okay. I forget all of this, but this is a very good setup to put Jon in the same room as the body which has no smell. And Ghost instantly knows some weird shit's going down.
Ghost? What's wrong?
That's dog fort. There is a fucking giant zombie on the other side of the door. It's cool how quick they show the dire wolves growing up in season 1. It just shows that when they're at full size, they'll be huge because they get to dog size really quickly.
Stay.
What a well-trained dog. Terrible advice though. Ghost is the best weapon Jon currently has.
Lord Commander?
Okay, I got a quick question about the way that was shot. Definitely was a good way for a jump scare and shit, but at the same time, wights aren't supposed to be beings that can think sneakily. And that wight literally snuck behind the door, waited till Jon entered, and then slammed the door behind himself for the sneak attack charge. That shows more brain power than any other wight uses throughout the entirety of this show. When all else fails, fire prevails.
Jorah, make them stop.
Ah, no, this is the witch lady. I remember this.
Princess, you have a gentle heart, but this is how it's always been.
I do not have a gentle heart.
You know what's funny about this scene, by the way, is that Daenerys is being framed as being the humanitarian. But even if you took away the sexual assault of the females, which obviously she resonates with the most because A, she's been through it personally, and B, she's a female, but they're still killing everyone and taking all their shit, and cancelling out one immoral act doesn't make the rest of it any less immoral. So while it seems like she's got some sort of moral high ground in this scene, she's essentially giving the A-OK to the slaughter of the civilians, just not the sexual assault of the surviving females. Guys like, how dare you not let me sexually assault the innocent? We've got a fight to the death to be having. What a fucking lame wound to die from. An initial stopping him walking forward sword push. Bet you Khal Drogo is sick at limbo. What a punishment, rips his tongue out through his own neck hole. That is one way to display dominance to the rest of your Khalasar. If Drogo had just not got the help of this woman, do you think he would have survived that wound? Because Daenerys had a good point, it could become infected, but at the same time it was a tiny little slice. I mean, was she definitely necessary? Couldn't they just pour fucking boiling water on it and burn it and shit to make sure it cauterized and didn't get infected? Or maybe he would have just died either way.
The bloody wall will melt before an Umber marches behind a Glover.
It's a shame, because imagine how powerful the North would be if all the houses were like 100% never gonna snake each other and all united. Yeah, you better fucking watch who you're talking to, mate. I will never get tired of these direwolf interjections.
Your meat is bloody tough.
Typical northern response to losing a couple of fingers. You can't let it ruin the banter of the evening. My uncle's got a couple fingers missing from a chainsaw accident. I bet he continued the rest of his work shift before he actually put a fucking bandage on.
I can ride now. You've seen me riding. And I won't get in the way.
You must always be a Stark in Winterfell.
That would be an absolutely ridiculous decision, Bran. You stay, be Lord of Winterfell, rule.
Rob will be looking for you. To say goodbye.
No disrespect to this kid, but I remember him being the worst child actor in this show.
And I'll come back with Mother. No, they won't.
Let's be honest, he's the shittest Stark. He doesn't do much this show.
No, that's a big man.
He was wearing that exact same outfit when I saw him DJing. I thought his mixing skills could use a bit of work, but the rest of the crowd were transfixed on him.
They were touched by White Walkers. That's why they came back. That's why their eyes turned blue.
Sam straight away showing his skill set to the people at Castle Black. He's the knowledgeable man, the thinking man.
I read about it in a book.
The man that tells you that he acquires his knowledge from a book multiple times, man.
What else did the book say? The White Walkers sleep beneath the ice for thousands of years.
Book sounds like a bit of a downer.
Summer snows, milady.
Rob's brought the north with him.
Harley Davidson guy looks like the JD enema hit him different that morning.
Lady Catelyn, you're a welcome sight in these troubled times.
I like the Lord Glover's just back to being his usual self after getting 2 fingers bitten off around the feast table. We've got to appreciate this moment because we don't get to see too many Starks hug one another over the next 7 seasons.
From Sansa.
From the Queen, you mean?
I love that they all see through this Sansa letter. What was the point in Cersei even instructing Sansa to write it? They all know it comes from Cersei.
If the half-man betrays us, Shagga, son of Dolph, will cut off his manhood.
And feed it to the goats, yes.
I wonder how many times Shagga repeated that threat while they walked to Tywin's encampment.
This is Shagga, son of Dolph, chieftain of the Stone Crows.
Tywin looking at Tyrion like, what the fuck have you brought me these barbarians for?
And here we have Bronn, son of...
You wouldn't know him.
That's why, really, even with all these flaws, you gotta root for Bronn, because this is such a privileged, nepotistic, is that a word? You know what I mean by that, world? That the fact that he manages to rise up through the ranks and get a knighthood and shit is almost impressive due to the fact that he doesn't come from any house of note.
Starks, Lord Eddard?
Is our hostage. He will lead no armies from his dungeon cell.
You know, that surprises me. I thought Tywin would have thought long term that it would be better to have Ned released in order to keep the peace, but he just seems like he's down for this war now.
One taste of battle and he'll run back to Winterfell with his tail between his legs.
Maybe.
That's what you think, my friend. Rob is far more formidable than you're giving him credit for.
We shall require 3,000 helms and shields, plus swords, pikes, gorgets, maces.
The hill tribes seem like such simple people, you know, they don't want no kingdoms or nothing, they just roam the hills with big fucking battle axes looking to take what they can. They're the human equivalent of hyenas in the Game of Thrones universe.
Ride with me against my enemies, and you shall have all my son promised you and more.
Only if the half-man fights with us.
Horrible counter bargain. And Tywin's like, fucking that's a bonus, mate, done.
The late Lord Frey, my father calls him. At the Trident, he didn't appear until the battle was done.
Now, Walder Frey is a piece of shit, but I completely forget that he's a tardy piece of shit.
Let him go.
Rob.
It's actually genius Rob's doing this because he's A, using it as a bait and switch, while B, being able to maintain the values and principles that his father lives by.
20,000 Northerners marching south to find out if he really does shit gold. Yes, my lord.
Let's go, Rob.
Are you touched, boy? Letting him go?
You call me boy again.
See, that guy's just a balls-out barbarian, another Robert. He doesn't understand there's a bit of savviness to what Rob's doing right now. When you think about it, actually, Rob would have been a fucking amazing king, because he's what I was talking about last episode, you know, that mixture of savviness and cunning mixed with military skill.
Every man and woman in the Seven Kingdoms owes you thanks. But it is time to put aside your armor and your sword.
Hate this scene. He already had to swallow his pride because he was such an oath-driven man after that scene with Ned last episode. And now they're telling him to go fuck himself anyway.
You let my father die. You're too old to protect anybody.
Joffrey, wow. Joffrey has no idea the resolve Sir Barristan Selby is showing in this scene.
Given a stout keep beside the sea, with servants to look after your every need.
A horde to die in.
They're the little comments that kept you wondering whose side Varys is on, but at the end of the day, he has to play the game a little bit.
Naked night, apparently.
And the fact that someone as cowardly and non-physically imposing as Baelish took that moment to take a shot at a legendary swordsman, the disrespect he's getting.
Here, boy. Melt it down and add it to the others.
I'm proper offended at the disrespect he's shown in this scene. Look at him, still walking out with prestige and his head held high, one arm still on the fucking sword ready. So Barristan Selby could have easily had just one-on-one challenged each member of the Kingsguard there to a fight to the death and been like, well, now you ain't got a Kingsguard, okay? And I quit, so now it's just Jaime. Enjoy.
I ask mercy for my father, Lord Eddard Stark, who is Hand of the King.
This is kind of the first time Sansa has had to face a serious real-life situation, I guess. She's just been oblivious to everything the entire season up to this moment, and this is just reality hitting her like a ton of bricks, you know. That woman she was cruel to this whole series is now dead. Her dad's now in jail.
They must have lied to him, Lord Renly or Lord Stannis or somebody. They must have lied.
It's just showing her true innocence, isn't it? Like, all that other shit is just when things are rosy, you know, she's just grown up like that. You can't really help it. It's how she was. She was raised in a rich family. But to be reduced to this and have to beg for her own father's life, horrible.
Your sweet words have moved me.
And this makes you like him a little bit. You're like, oh yes, thank God, Joffrey.
He has to confess and say that I'm the king.
I would still have taken that, because that allows Ned to be released, regroup in some way, you know, he could have done something with that outcome, even though it's like, you know, making him drag his name through the mud a bit. At least he would have been alive with his family to be able to figure something out from there. So yes, Joffrey was a douche for following it up with, he has to swear, but at least he was, in that scene at least, fooling us into believing he was going to spare Ned his life. Okay, and that was episode 8 of season 1 of Game of Thrones, The Pointy End, and I will be back in just a minute with my thoughts on that. So, The Pointy End, what did I think of that? Barring the opening scene, it's not as brutal as I remembered it being. It's obviously the next couple episodes coming up where things really start to suck. But yeah, this opening scene of this episode sucked incredibly. We saw all the rest of the Stark guards get slain by the Lannister guards. We saw the Hound capture Sansa, and we also saw saw Syrio Forel get killed as well. So yeah, horrible opening to the scene, and now Arya's running somewhere around in the city keeping her head down, and no one knows where she is. So imagine the panic that Catelyn's feeling, that Ned's feeling. He knows nothing down in that cell as to what's happening to his children. I could not even imagine the stress they would be feeling. And thank God this stuff's happening with Robb up north, to be honest. Otherwise there would just be a bit of a feeling of hopelessness right now. But the fact Robb's responding so ferociously, and he's showing that he has elements which almost make him an upgrade on Ned. He has tactical savvy. He anticipates double crosses. He suspects people will do snaky actions. He knows what Tywin is capable of. Unfortunately, some of those traits were just dulled within Ned for one reason or another. So Robb is far more capable at hitting these people where it hurts unexpectedly than they currently think, and I cannot wait for Robb to start to hit them where it fucking hurts. And I forget Tywin was fully behind all of this. You know, I genuinely would have thought Tywin's stance on it would have been, even if, you know, Robert's dead and we had to rip up this note or blah blah blah, you can't imprison Ned. Just pull him out and tell him he needs to say this. You know, we'll say it was a misunderstanding, killing his guards, let's defuse this shit. That seems like it would have been a smarter strategy for Tywin to do, even if his long game plan was to attack the Starks, because that would allow a time of peace so he could set his chess pieces up into place before, you know, making an actual move later down the line. But no, when we catch up with him at his encampment, he seems to be all for it, which is genuinely surprising to me. And also, wow, he just fucking hates Tyrion, doesn't he? Tyrion's already had to figure out a way to not be slain or have to dance for children at the behest of the Hill tribes. Gets to his dad's tent. Yes, he's burdened him with the promise of, you know, thousands of axes and blah blah blah, but he was doing what he had to do to survive. And then Tywin thinks, nice, these Hill tribes are actually good cannon fodder to put at the front of the battle lines and, you know, just send them to their deaths. So he tries to talk them into fighting for him. They demand Tyrion fight alongside them, and Tywin is just so quick to be like, cool. I mean, I would have sent him out there by himself if you guys hadn't have fought alongside him. So yeah, at least he's got some backup. And the rest of this episode just forced us to cruelly have to endure people either feigning loyalty or being reduced to having to beg at Joffrey's feet, and it's just horrible to see, especially Sansa in that last scene. Like I said, it was the first time really that a real horrible real life situation had hit her like a ton of bricks, and the way she's being gaslit by Cersei, Joffrey just has all the power over her he could ever want. There's no escape for her, you know, the hound's there to keep a watch on her. It is a horrible set of circumstances she's in right now, and while Arya is off the map, at least we know she's not in the hands of these twats. And fuck that final scene too for giving us hope that Joffrey was actually going to let Ned live if he swore loyalty to him and, you know, admitted he was a traitor and shit. What a little double-crossing rodent of a human being he is. I am not surprised that actor got real life shit when he walked down the street, because this show is so immersive. If this show was running, if I saw him walking down the street, my first thought wouldn't be, oh, that's the actor that plays Joffrey, he's a really good villain, wow, it's some actor. My first thought would be, oi, Joffrey, be nicer to Sansa, you fucking little shit. So, you know, understandable he chose to temporarily walk away from acting after playing Joffrey, because, you know, you knock it out the park one time in a legendary show, then walk away. That's a mic drop moment if I've ever seen one. And the biggest thing I want to say before we close off is rest in peace to Syrio Forel. Such a charismatic and interesting character, and it is a testament to how strong this show is that they can literally kill off characters like that, and you don't miss them because they create and introduce so many other interesting characters. George R.R. Martin is so good at it, and I feel like he could just do it unlimitedly. Like, if we figured out how to give George R.R. Martin the Iron Man heart and just told him to write Game of Thronesies for the next 1,000 years, I'm pretty confident he would create like 10,000 amazing characters. And needless to say, I cannot wait to see what happens next week. If you've liked this video, click like, subscribe to the channel to see more videos like this, ring the bell to be notified notified as to when they drop. If there's anything you want to talk about, comment down below and share this around to anyone you think might appreciate it or want to watch these reactions along with us. My Patreon link is down in the description. If you become a patron, you get access to my blog. You get access to these reactions I put on YouTube a month and a half in advance, and you also get access to full-length versions of everything I react to. So consider becoming a patron, it helps me and my channel out so much, and until next time, I have been BA, peace.